a Sanskrit incantation that invokes the presence of great teachers. So I'm going to chant that first because I need all the help I can get. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvasesha Sunyavari Vaskacha Desatarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Go Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, well, I suppose it's self-explanatory, but let that not stop me. We have a fire station right down the street, and something's always on fire. What do they call that? Guaranteed employment. You're in a safe shape. So, I guess I'll say it this way, that there are, not to take you too far back in your childhood, but there are explorers of the mundane realm. We have our Christopher Columbus. Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Was it 1492 or whatever it was? And there's Vasco da Gama, there's Magellan, there's Copernicus looking out in the... And they left behind their lab books, their logs, their observations, their methodology, how to duplicate their experiments. And we call that science. You observe, you make a hypothesis, then you design an experiment that proves that. And if you get the result you projected and it's duplicatable, then that's science. Well, just by the law of averages, there are inquisitive and great intellects all over the world. It's not a priority or a exclusivity of the West. There's great minds all over the world. And we, Hare Krishna people, we're color-coded. You can find us easily. There's a reason for this color. We follow a tradition of, let us say, explorers of the realm of consciousness. Everybody in here, is that I think, therefore I am. Each one of us has our own individual reality. Because I'm hungry, I'm tired, you're thinking about what you did today, you're thinking what you got to do tomorrow. I'm just one blip on your radar. You got a lot going on. We all got a lot going on. And really, if we think about it, and that's what we're going to get into here, is that's what determines our experience, what makes us happy, what makes us feel valuable, what puts us in anxiety. All of that primarily comes from that internal realm. But most people rarely explore it. We don't think about it very, although it is the most predominating factor that determines our experience. We really don't study it much, or explore it, or go into it. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay? That's where we're going. We'll try to go quick. So this ask why 5 times. There's he's a nice person. He comes to the temple. He's got his degree from Harvard in business management. And he was telling me the other day if you want to get to the bottom of something, you ask why 5 times. And I'll give you an example. Next slide. Thank you, Tapas. So, can you guys see? Probably not. All right. Not a whole lot we can do about it. So. You can ask me later on why this color. It's breed tolerance, which is an essential factor. So I was in Burma a couple of years ago, Myanmar, as they say now. And I met a college student at I forget, I was getting some fruit or something for the temple. And he was interested, so he was asking me some questions. Because they're used to seeing monks, but they're not used to seeing monks with pale faces. It was kind of a, what are you doing here? So we were talking. And I said, we have a nice program at our temple. It was right up the hill. I said, why don't you come tonight? He said, I'm too busy. I don't have time. So just for fun, I thought, well, let's try this out. Ask why 5 times. So I said, I'm too busy. I said, why? He said, well, I got a big test coming up, and we're not saying drop out of college and move to the Himalayas. Don't go off on some, well, it's not a bad idea, actually. But, just don't tell your parents I said so. Why? He said, well, I got a big test coming up. I said, okay. Why? So I want to get a good grade. I said, why? He said, I want to graduate with honors. I said, okay, why? He said, well, I want to get into a good grad school in America. I said, okay, why? He said, well, I want to graduate with a PhD and a good resume. I said, okay, why? He said, well, I want to get a good job. I said, okay, why? He said, well, I want to make a bunch of money. He was honest. I said, okay, why? He said, well, I want to buy a big house and I want to get a big car. I said, why? So that I can get a beautiful wife. I said, okay, why? He said, well, that'll make me happy. I said, aha. All these are intermediary steps for what you're actually trying to do is become happy. That's what you're trying to get. Everything else is just a means to that end. I said, trust me, my friend. I said, I've just come from America. We got so many big houses, big cars, beautiful women, handsome men. And they're not, in spite of what you see in the movies, because they're thinking America. They see in the movies and they're seeing the advertisement. If I just get Crest toothpaste and a red Ferrari, it's all going to work out, I said, it's not really hitting it over there, I said, why do you think I'm here? I came from there. Why am I here? So he did come that night, by the way. So why? Next. So, of course, I think it says right there, but if I have a disease, something that's paining me, and I go to the doctor, what is essential, the bedrock essential element to solve my problem if I go to a doctor? Got to have a good doctor. Okay, fine. Got to have medicine. Fine. In America, you got to have money. Fine. Whatever. But what is the essential bedrock? I think it says right there, doesn't it? Yeah, work with me, my friends. You got to have the right diagnosis. Without the right diagnosis, you're just wasting your time and wasting your money, spinning your wheels. So, as I was saying earlier, we have Western explorers, and there's also explorers of the realm of consciousness. And, an experiment principle behind it, you do, like as I said earlier, you have that observation, you do a hypothesis, you craft an experiment that's going to confirm that, your hypothesis. And if you can duplicate it, if it gets the result you expected and you can duplicate it, that's called science. There's also a science of the self. It's not just, somebody sent me a book the other day, and it was a so-called saint who had fallen off a horse and been hit in the head by a mule. I swear to you. And after that, realized that they were the source of all things, they were God. I was thinking, maybe something was knocked loose, and if that's how you realize the absolute, well, then just get me a baseball bat, I'll put it all over right now. So it's not such a whimsical by chance. Let me ask you a question. Sometimes people get, what did the guy, Elvis Presley, got an honorary degree in musicology from Columbia University. Now, he's a good old boy from Nashville. But did he get that degree because sometimes people get an honorary degree. If you sit on your couch and think, hey, I'm waiting for my honorary degree. I'm not studying. I'm not going to college. I don't need a teacher. I'm just going to wait for it to hit me. Well, okay. But even Elvis Presley had to do something, had to become prominent in the field. So our point is that this is science, is a methodology that doesn't take the joy and the spontaneity out of the thing. But there's a science, there's an art to the thing. Okay, next. So I'm going to share with you a few examples of how the mind and our internal world, you get earworms, you get a tune stuck in your head, it just goes around and around and around. Or sometimes, somebody upsets us or something happens and, and it's just stuck in your head and you just work it and work it and work it. We have all types of concepts. What's a nice way to say it? Let us say pre-scripted programs. They just run in our head. They're just running. And this, there's a certain experience that goes into that program and you get this result. And that's just the way the ball goes every time. So it would be helpful if we could see those patterns so we didn't automatically fall into them and wind up in the same spot. If we can analyze, here's the problem and here's how it's working, I'm not going to keep dancing to that tune repeatedly. So that's where we're going. So we set ourselves up for stress, anxiety, anger, fear, loneliness, sense of sufficiency. So all kinds of stuff's going on. So next, here's an example of one of those: anticipation and expectation. It's the Vedic sages, those explorers of the realm of consciousness, have told us that generally speaking, the mind is in two states. It's either hankering or lamenting. Nasojate nakanchate is the Sanskrit phrase for it from Bhagavad Gita. Hankering or lamenting. Or either thinking, when I get, if only I get, when I get, when I get. And then when you get it, zip, right through your fingers. Oh, I lost it when I had it. We're either thinking about the past or we're dreaming of the future. The moment is just a transitory flash in the pan where we actually are. When I get home, when I get, There's another thing, FOMO, F-O-M-O, fear of missing out. I'm sitting in my backyard. I'm reading a book. I got a day off from work. Everything's great. I'm minding my own business. Peaceful breeze is blowing. Birds are chirping in the trees. I don't know. You got a cool glass of lemonade. I don't know. It's fantastic. All of a sudden, you check your phone. Hey, wait a minute. Everybody's at such and such place. And they didn't invite me. They're all of a sudden, we're in misery. We were perfectly fine. But by comparing, fear of missing out. Well, geez, I got a funky car, but, the other guy's got a brand new car. Of course, he doesn't share with you that he's got to work at a job he hates to make the payments on the car. I mean, that's another factor. But we just see the flashy car go by. Oh, geez, I only have one of those. So this happened to me personally when I was a kid. It was my introduction to the nature of this world. And I mentioned this on Sunday. I was 6 years old, 5 years old actually. So my sister was 7, my brother was 10. And my mother dropped us off at the movie theater. It was a safer world then. And my older brother was there keeping an eye on us. And my mom was free for, 2.5 hours. She had so many things to do. So my mom gave me 25 cents, which in 1957 was big change. It was a big change. It was heavy spending money for a little tyke. So I worked my way up to the candy counter, and I did a calculation. There's so many candy bars. I did all, which one is bigger, thicker, going to last longer. Did all my little calculus in my head, and I finally settled on an almond joy bar, about this big. I said, it's hefty. Plunked down my change, ripped the thing open. Next, so I was anticipating. I'm anticipating, but what's the result? Okay, so next, what the? I ripped the thing open, and what came out with these two little things was on a cardboard tray. Wait a minute. I said to my brother, I've been cheated, I've been ripped off, I've been hosed, My brother said, get used to it. There's plenty of that where that came from. So, but my happiness was based on the anticipation. What I actually got didn't measure up. And I'll tell you, most of the time it does not measure up to what we think. I'm responsible for our temples in the Hawaiian Islands. So by Krishna's grace, I get to go there sometimes. And I tell you, the way people are flying over and the mood when they're flying over, check out, if you ever go to Hawaii, and I don't want to rain on your parade or your holiday or whatever, watch the people coming back on the planes back to the mainland. They all got sunburn after the first or second day. They're from Iowa, and they know, what's that yellow thing in the sky, So they're all burned to a crisp, so they're completely uncomfortable. Got drunk as can be, little drinks with little, whatever, just an umbrella in it, barfed on their shoes, made a complete fool of themselves. I'm just telling you, it doesn't usually add up. So that's one thing, this anticipation of the future, that if I somehow or other titillate my senses, that's going to make me happy. We'll get there in a minute. So next, and I'm thinking of the time too, don't worry. This also happened to me. I was helping set up our Spanish language, Latin printing house in Puerto Rico. This is a number of years ago. So I was flying from New York City. You wonder what monks do? We got all kinds of stuff going on. It's fun. So I was in New York City, in JFK, going to the airport. And as I was going down in JFK to, all the gates and everything to board, there was a big, as big as this wall, there was a big sign that said, going nuts in New York City. Chaos, noise, cacophony, just go to Puerto Rico. Tranquilo, peaceful, quiet. It looked good too. Looked just like this. Of course, usually they have two sets of footprints. Nobody wants to be alone for long. So, okay, looked interesting. And I swear to you, when I arrived in San Juan Airport, as I was going to get my luggage, there was a similar sign about as big as this, only it was a picture of the New York skyline at night. And it said, going nuts in this, on this little island, nothing to do, go to New York where the action is. So, what does that tell you? I was thinking, hey, everybody in Puerto Rico is thinking if I go to New York, I'll be happy. Everybody in New York is thinking if they go to Puerto Rico, they're going to be happy. How does that square? How do you, are they happy at 6,000 miles, at 3,000 miles over Atlanta? Because I flew right past it. I didn't see it. So we're thinking that the conditions, if we just get, I'm too hot, I'm too cold, I'm not with the person I want to be, if I just make an adjustment. Practically speaking, most people spend their lives trying to make an adjustment. I just tweak the factors, I'm going to be happy. But no, it's a long way. Embarrassing. So if we accept the basic law of entropy, that everything in the world is in a constant state of flux, everything's shifting, everything by the law of friction is wearing out. I used to look like you guys. There's a scary thought. I'm now 70 plus, everything changes. It's constantly mutable. And if our happiness, we're looking for a steady state in a constantly mutable world. Anybody see the impossible remedy of that? So if our happiness is based on conditions, we would offer that there's an alternative. That happiness is based on consciousness. If we can learn that art of happiness based on consciousness, and it's a science. Okay, next. We'll wrap up here. So just quickly, according to those concepts we've got rattling around in our head, that determines our experience. You've probably all had your eyes checked at some point in time. They put that big thing in front of you and they drop down lens. Can you see better or worse? Better or worse? Clear or clear? Better or worse? Better or worse? Well, we're seeing through lenses. If we're honest with it, like I was saying the other day, there's a fish know it's in water, you know? We don't feel the pressure of air, but this climate, this atmosphere is weighing on us. This is that, you know, barometric or whatever it is. This is actually weighing on us. But because we're so used to it, we don't experience it. We've got all kinds of concepts rattling around in our mind, which are determining our experience, but we just live with it. We don't ask why 5 times. Well, why do I really want that? Why do I feel like this? Is this really in my best interest? I don't want to hit too close to home, but I live in an apartment near the temple. And there's a bunch of college kids from San Diego. Well, I don't want to pick on any place. From a well-known college in the city of San Diego. And I see them. It happens every week. Thank God it's Friday. And you know, PB has one of the most bars of any city per capita, Pacific Beach. They're all living here because they can just zip out to the beach and go to the bars. So then Friday's okay. Saturday, it's starting to take its toll. Sunday, they're just conked out and they drag their rear ends back to college. Because, you know, every Monday. And they do the same stupid thing every weekend. I wonder, why did I barf in my shoes, and where did all my money go, and who was that person I was with, and where'd my pants go, you know, whatever it is, you know. And I see it every single week. You got it, my friend. Yeah, I hear you, brother. So we'll roll on here. So the you know, what are those things that are the lenses that help make us see the world? And wait a minute, what if I didn't see through those lenses? If I have a pane of let's say blue glass, and I shine a light through it, the light is white or pure on this side. When it goes through that membrane or through that glass, it becomes tainted. Our consciousness is pure. We'll get there in a minute. Well, I guess I'll say it now. Well, we'll get there in a minute. Okay, next. Okay, I'm saying the same thing. Our experience depends on our angle of vision. And here's the point I wanted to make. Next. Our premise is if we change our perception, our angle of vision will change the way we experience the world. This guy, my friend here, I gotta use my laser pointer at least. He's just cruising along, you know, middle America, you know, his life is not hitting on it, but he's, you know, getting through. And all of a sudden he sees a sign, scenic view, scenic area. And between these two buildings, there's a whole other reality on the other side. What if there's a whole other way of seeing the world? What if there's a whole other way of experiencing the world? What if there's, in any tradition, you read it, there are, and if you practice it, you can experience saints and sages describing states of ecstasy. It's not just men, don't worry. You got not Mother Teresa, who's our one, name slips my mind, but this in the Catholic tradition, she's from France. They're experiencing states of ecstasy and not the drug. So next. So just to show you, according to what we think determines what we see. We think seeing is believing. You ever heard that? Hey, seeing is believing. I'm from Missouri, the show me state. Show me, I'll believe it. But that's not what's happening. According to what we think, we see. Now, this is a simple experiment. Everybody see the seagull? See the little whack, 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 whack. Here he is, little eye, cute little guy. Next. What the? You see the rabbit? See the ears, see the eyes, see the cute little nose? Next, go back. Everybody see the seagull? Next, go forward. You can spend all night here. See if I can bend your mind. But the point is that according to, if we look for a seagull, we will see the seagull. It's the exact same object. If you look for a rabbit, you will see the rabbit. Next, I got a few of these and then we'll wrap up. Which way are the birds flying? Oh, it all depends, my friend. If you look at the white, they're all going this way. If you look at the black, hey, wait a minute, they're all going the other way. Next, what you look for, you see. Is it a side view or a front view? That'll bend your mind. Sorry about that. I'm stuck. Okay, next, because I want to get there. Now, another thing, like I was saying, hankering and lamenting or anticipation and then the expectation and the disappointment, we get it. Here's what we want. Here's what we want. Here's what we actually need. This is, the fact of the matter is you have to figure right now that some of the best and the brightest in the world are working away at some advertisement agency, in some marketing department, to figure out how to shake you down. Getting paid millions of dollars to produce advertisement to suck the money out of your pocket and suck your life air out. If you don't dress like this, if you don't look like this, if you don't talk like this, if you haven't been here and had this experience, you're losing it, man. You're out of it. But where did the average American under hypnosis can remember, what is the number? I think it's 375 commercial jingles. Somebody said to my spiritual master, my teacher, many, many years ago, oh, this chanting of mantras is brainwashing. He said, if the brain is dirty, shouldn't you wash it? He was like pretty innocent in his approach to the thing. But all that garbage is just rattling around in our head. Next. Oh, you went the wrong way, I think. Oh, go ahead anyway. We'll move on. We have all kinds. This is what I'm talking about. See this guy? Like a merry-go-round. I was saying earworms. We have thought worms. It says guilt, shame, doubt. No one will ever love me. No one will ever understand me. I'll never be happy. It is. And it's just going around and around and around and around. So what's the answer next? See my friend here? He had surgery on his brain. And what did he find inside? You ever see those little wind-up monkeys? Bang, 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 bang. It's just banging in our head. You're too fat. You're too thin. You're not tall enough. You're not making enough money. Bang, 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 bang. And we're just like, imagine you had a monkey in your head, banging on a pair of cymbals. How much time would you have to really think about this? And that's our situation. Don't worry, we're not going to leave you there. Next. Krishna says in the Gita, that's one of our wisdom books, our mind is our best of friends and our worst of enemies. If it can become free of these things, then it's our best of friends. As long as it's stuck in those grooves. Next. The old joke, where does a 2-ton gorilla sit? Anyone know that joke? Huh? Anywhere it wants. Exactly. Hey. And the mind is like that. Well, next, because I'm thinking about the time factor. Krishna says in the Gita, one must deliver oneself with the help of one's mind and not degrade oneself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul, that's us, and the enemy as well. Next. Well, I'm looking for a picture, but it's not there. That's our friend again. Next. You see this bull? I don't know if anyone's ever been on a farm. You ever seen a bull? They are a big animal. You get a brown Swiss or something like that, or a big Jersey. And that thing, where does it go? Anywhere it wants to. Anyway, it's a long story. I've been pushed around by those things. You're trying to milk them and separate from the cat. Not milking the bull, but you get the principle. So but how is that big bull controlled? And if you go to any third world country, let's say developing, that's a politer term. It has more of a rural culture. You see little kids, 6, 7. You've seen it. Yeah, everybody's seen it. 6 or 7 years old. And they've got that bull by the nose, they're, one hand, because the septum is very sensitive, evidently, in a bull, and they're very easily pulled this way or that. We are being pulled by our mind. We're being pulled this way into this mind groove and that, mind worm, this anxiety, this sense of self-insufficiency or fear of death. Socrates? Ooh, we got to wrap up. Socrates, so they say, he was given poison because he was, what did they call it? He was polluting the youth, getting the youth of Athens to think. And so they had him in jail. They given him hemlock. Say, now we're finished with you. You know what he said as he was drinking the hemlock? So they say, first you got to catch me. What does that mean? It's not the body, it's the soul within. As soon as we think that, fat, thin, ugly, black, white, Chinese, I got a lisp, who doesn't, what does it mean? It's nothing. Next. Okay, so here's where I wanted to get. You see these different, why don't you go forward one first? I put this together the last minute. No, forward. Get this. Forward. Seems to me you're going backwards unless we're in a time warp here. Go one more forward. Yeah, there we go. So this is an analogy from Bhagavad Gita. I want you to walk home with this because this is the key that helps you get out of these loops. Hey, Krishna, he's our cook. Yeah, he's everybody's best friend, trust me. Everybody loves Saul. I mean, they would love him anyway, but it does help. So Krishna says the senses are superior to matter. The mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is higher than the mind. The soul is even higher than the intelligence. Walk home with this picture in your mind, and my work is done. See these horses? First off, there's a chariot here. And there's a driver. There's a passenger. So you've got the chariot, you got the passenger, and you've got the horses. Now you probably can't see, but on each of these horses, 5 horses, there's a sense. There's the eye, there's the nose, there's the tongue, there's the ear, like that. And as that chariot is being pulled by the horses, our consciousness, somebody told me one time, his body was just to move his mind around, So everything is being pulled by the senses. You hear this, oh, what's going on? You smell this, you taste this. It's pulling us out into the world. Those are like the horses pulling the body. Now, the next thing happening is you've got the reins, which are compared to the mind. They're taking the impulses from all the senses and they're putting them into a pattern. They put it in like a menu. You can choose this, you can choose that. We're going off the cliff, we're going to the beach, oh, this horse is sick. It takes all that raw data gathered by the senses and puts it up as menus. Then you've got the driver, which is our intelligence, and it picks that. Well, I don't want to do that. I did that last time and I got kicked in the head. I'm going to go this way instead, or whatever it is. The intelligence picks those. But actually, we're not even we think we're the intelligence. Sometimes we think we're the senses. Nike, just do it. That's animal instinct. That's Pavlov's dogs and conditioned response. That's not what an intelligence. Doesn't it sound better? Think before you do it. Lemmings don't think; they just jump off the cliff. So they say. So the point is that we are the passenger. Think why 5 times. Why do I want to do this? Is it just because of my tongue or my ears or my mind? Is it because of my ego or my pride? Why am I going to punch this guy? Road rage. People pull out a gun and shoot people. What? Passion killings. People kill their best friends, their wife, their husband. Why? What happened? But we're being completely driven by that. Next. What happened? Did you fall asleep on the button? Next. Is that the end? There. Are we done? Okay, because these are the last 3 things we want to finish up. Thank you, Tapas. No, it's not easy, I know. Okay, just to leave you with a few things. Okay, what to do about it? Because it's not easy. We are deeply ingrained. We are conditioned. We can't help it. Since the kid comes out of the womb, slap him in the rear end to get him to breathe, and then they suckle the mother's. No, it's true. And then to suckle the mother's breast. Oh, when you go to the dentist, when you were a kid, I don't know what they do now, but when you were a kid, hit you with the Novocaine, and then what do? They give you a sucker, or you get a shot in the rear end of the dog. So there's pain and relief, stimulus and response. And we've been conditioned like that for lifetime after life. Not easy, but we have to break through. Otherwise, we'll never be free. We'll never think clearly. We'll never have happiness. We just stay on the same route. So here's 3 things what you can do next. I'm sure they won't take you by surprise. You heard the word mantra, Hare Krishna mantra. Man means mind, and tra means delivering, expanding, relieving. If I stick this, which I wouldn't do, but if I were to stick this metal pointer, laser pointer, if I put it in the fire, next to the fire, what will happen? It's hot. Yeah, don't overthink it. It gets red hot. By association with fire, it becomes like fire. If we associate our consciousness with the supreme consciousness, with pure consciousness, what will happen? Same thing. Our consciousness becomes purified. This Hare Krishna mantra is a spiritual sound vibration. It's called the Maha Mantra. Maha means great. Mahatma Gandhi means great soul. So Maha Mantra is the great mantra. And it has the effect. Great Catholics are chanting on rosary beads. You've got Buddhist monks that have been chanting on beads. You've got the Hasidic, they chant on the Jewish tradition. You've got Muslims chant on beads. In every genuine spiritual practice, the principle of chanting the holy sound vibrations on beads, they're all practicing. They've all been wrong for thousands of years and not experiencing anything. So that's this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra puts us in touch with our real self. If we get a taste of it, we know that it exists and it works. If you get a genuine spiritual experience, you think, hey, I want that. This is plain vanilla. I want the real thing. Okay, next. So here we are, just this chanting on beads. It's a simple thing. Anybody can do it. You can do it at home. You can make your own beads. We don't get a commission. Okay, next. And also, what's in our head? There's the old thing from Alice in Wonderland, feed your head. What are we feeding in our head? 357 commercial jingles sent out by people. They're not on our best interest. What do they call it? Aren't there influencers? They get paid. They'll shove anything they can into your head as long as they get hits and they get paid. Are they actually thinking, what's in the best interest of these people? I remember dating myself, but who cares? Just take a look. I remember when color television first came out, believe it or not. And I remember saying to my father, man, this is amazing. Mickey Mouse, fictitious rodent. This is great. So I asked my father, why are they doing this? This is fantastic. You can get it for, just turn on the channel. You get it for free. Is that thing for free? What do they call the television? The one-eyed idiot or the one-eyed bandit. You ever heard that one? Of course, everybody watches some other screen now. But why is all that content coming for free? Because they care about you? Because they want to make you a better person? What do you think? I mean, maybe there's a few outliers.
George Orwell said something similar to that. You know George Orwell?
Of course I do. And we're living it, my friend. Yeah. So anyway, that we'll get in here. But so just like you've got people take a bath, they feed themselves. Those are all, you brush your teeth, I hope. Sound like your mom. But in the same way, what about feeding ourselves? What about feeding the soul? I guarantee you take 15 minutes a day and you chant the Hare Krishna mantra on beads. We'll give you a set. You can make a set. You can chant. I'll teach you how to chant on your fingers. It doesn't cost you anything. You put that in your life and you read 10 minutes, 5 minutes, Bhagavad Gita a day, and you come back and see us in a month. And I guarantee you, wow, that worked. Okay, so next, and I think we're done. So yeah, unlock our full potential. You see this guy? He's stuck. This is an old wood block from the Middle Ages. But what happened? He's poked through the covering. Wait a minute, there's a whole other dimension out here. Okay, next, and I think we're done. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for sitting so patiently. And this is just a taste, but it's there in all of us. No one, my spiritual master said repeatedly that you don't need any pre-work. If I have a diamond, and I keep saying I'll end, and I will. If I have a diamond and I drop that in the mud, it's completely covered with mud. I pull it out, it's caked mud. Does that diamond need anything to become a diamond again? Do I have to add anything? What do I have to do? Just got to clean it off. We are all default mode of the self, of ourselves, our consciousness is by in Sanskrit, the great sages and rishis, they say Sat Chit Ananda. We are eternal, we're full of knowledge, and we're full of happiness. That is our default nature of the self. You don't have to add anything, you don't have to gain anything, you're not insufficient in any way. So our humble appeal is there is a path that you can follow to become fully conscious. And we're just trying to encourage you to try it. Okay, we're way over time, but here we go. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.
Nice round of applause for Badrinarayan Swami.